It's 9:16. Welcome back. Our time in the garden is basically over for 2021.
But before the snow flies, there are still some last-minute must-dos that you can get done.
Good Day garden guy Dale Kay has his gardening tips to wrap up the year on the right note.
G'day everyone. It's hard to believe that the 2021 growing season is almost over, but when I think back, it really was a good growing season. We had a long time to get all our gardens growing and flourishing, even though there were some challenges, particularly with rainfall in the summer and into August. And there are some things, even though it's kind of the end, there are some things that you should keep in mind as we put our gardens to bed. And that first one is water. And even though we're getting some good doses of water right now, it still is a little bit dry. So I'm going to water all my evergreens and anything that I planted late. I'm going to keep watering up until the ground freezes. Another thing to keep in mind also is leaves on the lawn. Make sure those all get raked up. And the best thing to do is put them into the compost. They're great that way. You can recycle them, upcycle them, use them as mulch as well. But you want to make sure that your lawn is nice and clean like that. That way they won't get moldy and your grass won't get any disease either. And one other thing for your lawn, right before the ground freezes or right before the snow flies, I like to add some gypsum to the lawn. That will naturally leach out any road salt or any pet acidity that occurs over the winter months. It helps your lawn bounce back a lot quicker in the spring. So that's gypsum. That goes down right before the snow flies. And I've got this big rake here for raking leaves, and I've also got these hand rakes that I found. Makes picking up leaves and getting them where you need to have them a lot easier. I compost all of mine and transport them around in those bags. Also, what you want to consider is covering anything that's tender. Burlap does a great job for evergreens. Even snow cover does a great job for protecting boxwoods, things like that. But anything that's prone to burning, now is a good time to wrap those plants before it gets too cold. And also wrapping trees as well is a good idea. This tree protector is great for protecting against rodents and deer. And this particular tree wrap is good for frost cracking, particularly on young maples. So those two things, you can use them even in conjunction. But this is for rodents and this is for frost cracking. Both of those really good for young trees. You can also protect all your plants with repellents and little cages like this. And keep in mind, critters are also around, like little mice. So I put little repellents all around my arborvitaes and any of my prized landscaping. That's really good. And before the ground before it freezes, you can add wilt proof to any of your evergreens, like the yews behind me, any of your pines, any of your little evergreens, boxwoods that tend to burn a little bit. This puts a protective layer on them, so this is also a good one to use. And finally, don't forget about spring next year, 2022. You can plant bulbs right now. It's still a great time to do that. And anywhere you want little pops of color, you can definitely do that up until the ground freezes. But most importantly, don't forget to water. You don't really think of watering this late in the season, and yes, we're getting rain, but it's super important. The ground is still quite dry, and all those evergreens and anything you planted new, whether they were shrubs or perennials, could really use that extra water this fall. For a Good Day, I'm Dale Kay. Back to you.